addressing some of these considerations. Well, in some cases, I provided the information already. When it comes to IP-based storage, you address the consideration by looking at the hardware, finding hardware that provides cross-switch link aggregation. That gives you the best kind of bang for your buck, so to speak, in terms of link distribution, utilization, that sort of thing. It's a simple ESX configuration with one VM kernel port. But there are some other tools and things going on. Okay, one of these is called the rapid cloning utility. And Larry talked about this yesterday in the utility. In his presentation, he had lots of good information on there. But I wanted to bring it up again here. Okay, this tool, which is available in the tool chest now, and there's a couple of URLs, and again, I refer you to Larry's presentation for the exact URLs on that, can help prevent the operational shift of cloning responsibilities from the server admins to the storage admins. Because it gives some utilities the server admins can run that will leverage the storage functionality, and the storage admins don't have to get involved. It provides the VC integration that we lacked. So now, because we're leveraging native VC cloning, we can also leverage the sysprep integration and the customization specifications to customize those VMs. And we eliminate the process of having to actually register the VMs separately. Because again, we're doing all this through publicly exposed APIs available via Virtual Center. Okay, so this utility is very handy, and it's described in depth in TR 3705, which is the VMware VDI NetApp best practices, and I'll have that up on the screen here in just a moment. So that's one way we can address some of the considerations. If you're interested in doing cloning, then it's worth looking at the rapid cloning utility. And again, I would refer you back to Larry's presentation because he gives you information on support and the support process and what's going to be involved, that kind of thing. The current version uses volume level flex clone. Future versions will leverage the file level flex clone or sysclone, and there's also discussion about a possible Virtual Center plugin. And here is an instance where we would use cloning and deduplication together, especially today as the RCU currently stands. As the RCU is written today, it uses volume level flex cloning. You're going to have a parent or a golden master flex file, which is going to have a bunch of disks. Well, that's a prime. All those disks are exactly the same. That's a prime target to run deduplication on the golden master and reclaim that space, and then clone that deduplicated golden master to present all the other VMs out to the environment. In addition, there are ONTAP developments that are underway. Aggregate level deduplication is going to eliminate the VM placement concerns, because that way we'll be able to deduplicate at the aggregate level instead of the volume level. Okay? So the VM placement concerns about how we place a VM in a LUN for failover or in a volume or LUN for replication becomes irrelevant because we can just deduplicate across an aggregate. In addition, continued development at the file level flex clone functionality or sysclone functionality. When we get the host integration we need to actually pick up data blocks in the host file system, then we'll actually be able to bring that functionality into the block level environment as well, so that we could replicate or clone data inside a LUN that is being presented back out to a VMware ESX infrastructure. All right, so what are some of the key takeaways? I'm going to open up the floor for, I'll have resources in just a moment, and then I'll open up the floor for any further questions you may have. So what are some of the key takeaways here? Cloning, in my mind, is most effective when you have economies of scale. VDI is a great use case. Okay? Dev test might be a good use case depending on scale. But anytime you have provisioning and reprovisioning occurring frequently, that's where cloning can really pay off, because you gain the ability to deploy these VMs very, very quickly. Okay? Space efficiency is like the icing on the cake. Business factors driving VM placement may run counter to deduplication guidelines. Okay, so you may want to place VMs in a specific way for deduplication. Business factors may drive that in the opposite direction. Whether those business factors be a need to replicate that data elsewhere for disaster recovery, whether it be application ownership, whether it be SLAs of some other sort, it doesn't matter. Okay? Network design with IP-based storage may be a bit more complicated than at first glance. As soon as you need to move beyond a gigabit of throughput from an individual ESX server, then we have to step into discussions about cross-switch link aggregation, multiple VM kernel ports, multiple IP subnets, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. If you have a friend who is really good with network design, or if you're really good with network design, then you might find that you have more friends than you used to have, because they need your expertise. And as I mentioned earlier, the only constant in technology is change, so whatever I say today is going to be obsolete tomorrow. Additional resources you may find useful. 3428 is an excellent resource, and it goes into extensive detail and discussion on the IP-based storage concerns and cross-switch link aggregation, multiple VM kernel ports, so definitely pull that down. Make sure you get the latest version, which last time I checked was version 4.2 as of September 2008. And that contains the latest recommendations and information. 3705 is also a recently released one, NetApp and VMware VDI best practices. This is good because it actually assumes the use of the rapid cloning utility. So all throughout this TR, it talks about NAVI clone and RFWM and so on and so forth, all the utilities that are included in the RCU. So it walks you through an entire, kind of setup with RCU in a VDI environment. So even if you're not necessarily interested in VDI, the content on the RCU is also helpful, as they haven't yet published the TR or any documents on the RCU itself. 3505 is the classic on deduplication, and I also found that the iSCSI SAN configuration guide by VMware was helpful, and I'm sure there are probably a million other resources available as well. So I didn't have room to list all of them, but I thought these were particularly applicable. So at this point, I will open it up for questions and answers. So yes, sir, go ahead.